obviously we got general information, okay? Injury history, first and foremost, that's kind of a big thing, because as you're doing, taking measurements on the table, and like say you didn't tell me any of this and I'm running into like, oh, you've got really bad T-spine, and you know, obviously the low back issues and the hip issues, you know, it just connects all the dots. So taking a really good in-depth injury history, and then we'll start out by hitting the lower half of the body. And have you put your hands kind of right at the sides of the table there. That way it'll keep your legs and hips, knees, and ankles lined up. We're gonna take this ankle out as far as you can. Hold that out there. Good. Cool. So looking at hip rotation, you know, hamstring mobility. Good, and then slide all the way up the table. So I'm gonna put my left hand behind your knee. You're gonna have a lot of contact there with my hand, okay? Not lose contact there. This leg's gonna be fairly straight and you're gonna raise it up. We're gonna look at hamstring mobility here, okay? So go ahead whenever you're ready. Good, okay, same thing on the other side. See all that quad, hip flexor. So we'll run through those tests. Good. Get you in a good spot. I'll have you hold there, and then we'll get some measurements, okay? Okay, freeze right there for me. Good. There's kind of a range, a pass-fail, whether it's restriction, mild restriction, or severe restriction on there. So kind of gives us a beat on, you know, how you're made up as an athlete, what you are going to have good ranges of motion in, and what you're going to lack in, and that kind of drives our mobility and correctives programming for you. And we'll go to the upper body, same kind of thing. We'll look at flexion, internal, external rotation, actively and passively. Get a beat on that. Look at elbow extension, T-spine mobility. Left arm first is going to go behind your back like that, and we're going to rotate toward the turf. Okay, looking at T-spine. I'm going to put my hand right here. Here, reset for a second. Put my hand here. I don't want you to shift over. Okay, so kind of like we're in a tube here, nice and straight. Go ahead. Good. Okay, same thing on the other side. And we'll look at scap, see how your scap's moved and support the shoulder. Did you get to a certain point before that felt comfortable to go over? Yeah.
Just go.
Look at neck and ankle, and then kind of at the end. So like obviously like we can find ranges of motion, you know, that you're lacking in, or tightness, or good range of motion. Good. Okay, so first thing we're going to do, we're going to go kind of about a 30-degree range out here. I should go up to 90 degrees right here, thumbs up. Okay, we'll hold that, and we'll continue overhead. Okay, once you get up there, come down nice and slow. Okay, start with that. Good. Go ahead and go up overhead. Good. Come down nice and slow. Good. You can go all the way down. Okay, so now I'm going to have you just go into flexion twice. So it's up overhead, coming down nice and slow. Do that 2 times for me. Good, same thing again. Good. Now, just one time I'll have you go palms forward this way. You're gonna go out and up to the side that way. Look up, down, left and right, full range of motion each way, okay? Go ahead. Good. Good, and then left and right. Okay. Good, and then pop the shoes off real quick. We're gonna look at ankle mobility last. And then we'll kind of tie it all together. Go ahead and kneel down on one knee, facing that way. So good. So keeping a good upright posture. Okay, goal is to get the knee out as far as you can. Okay, we have to keep the heel down while we're doing it, and I'll get a measurement here. Go ahead.
Mark this one for elite.
Oh, really? Too bad your ankles can't throw the baseball. All right, 55, good. Maybe a 56 there. Go ahead and switch. We look for 40 to 45, so you're good here. Go ahead. Keep that heel down. But we won't program directly from that, because you may use some of that tension. You may have a restriction, let's say, in your T-spine, but you use that tension, you know, and compensate well to throw 92, 93, 94, whatever miles an hour you throw. So the higher level athletes that we get, you know, some of those restrictions may not need to open up and get a better range of motion, you know, because you may compensate well with that. Whereas if like a high schooler comes in and they're 150 pounds and they've got all these restrictions, they're probably not going to compensate really well on the mound because they only throw like 75, you know.
Sure.
So as we get into the biomech piece, we kind of let that dictate what layers we peel back in the assessment in order to prescribe our mobility and correctives. So just because it's a restriction on here doesn't mean that it's necessarily something we have to attack, because you may use that tension to create energy well, you know. So that's kind of the game plan on what we'll do here. Once we get through that, are you throwing today too?
Yeah.
Going through the full thing? Okay. So you'll throw on the biomech. Once you get done with that, you'll come back. We'll look at weight room movements. Okay, see how you move in the weight room. Then we'll go through force plate testing too. So we'll get numbers on your CMJ, your squat jump, IMTP. And then we'll just get some baseline numbers, some output numbers on a med ball throw, broad jump, 10-yard sprint, that kind of thing. So kind of piece it all together. So getting this, the table assessment, the biomech, the movement and power, the weight room, everything, gives us all the pieces of the puzzle. You know, what's your lowest hanging fruit? What do you need to attack? Are you already strong? You know, the force plate numbers will kind of give us an idea of that. Do you lack power right now? Do you need to move faster? So that kind of dictates on the performance side what your programming is going to look like. You know, so yeah, building the pieces together, putting it all together is kind of a unique assessment process that we got. So
Sweet.
Cool. All right, let's rock and roll.
So
for you, like, we'll want to make sure like you're strong and stable at all your joints. Okay, and I think some of that hypermobility, some of the back issues, maybe the T-spine a little bit, that hip from the past, you've really hammered range of motion on it, just because it's like, okay, we gotta not let this get tight kind of thing. But I also think like strength and stability is going to be a big focus, because all your ranges of motion are good, like a lot of them. So starting in the lower half. So we look on this prone, hip external and internal rotation. Look for 40 degrees or more there. You're 57 and 48. Okay, left and right. Okay, 35 and 40 on internal rotation. We look for 30 degrees or more there. So hitting the numbers there that we want, which is a good thing. So quad, hamstring, Thomas test, which is your hip flexor, like all those pass too. Okay, so really not restricted on the lower half. So again, strength and stability. Like let's shore up these things. Like
stability is huge.
Yeah, yep. And that's why if you're not strong around a joint and you're getting into these higher velocities with throwing and striding off the rubber and everything, that's going to play into effect on, well, you can accelerate, can you decelerate properly and not overdo anything. So looking at the upper half, primarily focusing on the right side, the throwing side, with the left side, the non-throwing being your default side, right? 180 degrees of shoulder flexion, okay, is what we're looking for. Well, 170 or more, but as pitchers, as we're getting overhead all the time, we want that to be really efficient. You're 179, that scap stabilized number, okay, 176. We like that to be over 160, okay, so you're there too. Internal, external rotation, IR, you were 31. Okay, a lot more internal rotation on the left side. That's obviously, you don't decelerate, so you don't have anything there to really be restricted a whole lot, as far as that, on that internal rotation. But 31 and 128 gives us a total of 159, okay, and we want 170 to 180. This is obviously in a passive range of motion there, so when you're on the mound, that number's going up for sure. So abduction, the shoulder abduction, we look for 30 degrees or more, so that's when you're off the table with your palm up. dropping down, that's your scap load. So when you're here, you go to separate, that scap load right there, as you're getting ready to throw, that's that abduction number. So again, you're 13 degrees more than what we need to be at. So and then active range of motion, so active ER 120 degrees. We just want to see that number relatively close to our passive number, which is 128, so you're 8 degrees off. So good stuff there. All right. T-spine mobility, so a little bit of restriction in the T-spine on that left side, and that obviously plays into the sciatic nerve that's pinching on you and kind of barking at you. So again, do you go through like a battery of like just maintenance exercises and things to keep that strong and everything? Okay. So we'll be able to compare like kind of what you'll be able to compare what you do with your stuff for that now, and like what our mobility correctives are, and just kind of blend those together through that process, hopefully making you feel a little bit better. Scap mobility, okay, so it's kind of seeing how your scaps, in the perfect world, we like to see the scaps, like if this is your back, your scaps sit flat on your rib cage, right? And then as you go into outward and upward rotation, when you throw a ball, they move out and up with it, supporting the shoulder and then coming back down, right? That's in the perfect world. We're not, obviously don't have a perfect body, but yours sits slightly downwardly rotated, which is fine. We see that all the time, right? So it just has a little bit further way to go to support the shoulder as it's going up. You have good movement, good range of motion on it. A lot of times with that, the serratus, which is kind of attaches on that inferior side of the scap and kind of wraps through the ribs, is a good supporter of that, but that will kind of help pull those scaps over a little bit and give you better range of motion. So it's a mid-low trap work, but just again, just giving you smaller exercises, more corrective exercises to kind of shore up that movement, so you don't have so you have better support through movement, right? What we're gonna do is a counter movement jump, okay? So hands are gonna stay on the hips the whole time. Squat down, jump as high as you can, as fast as you can. Okay. All right, whenever you're ready. Good, 45-1. Okay, next one's gonna be a squat jump. So this one, same idea. We're gonna jump as high as you can. Hands are gonna be in the hips. You're gonna squat down. I'm gonna count you out 3 seconds. So it's 1, 2, 3, or hold, and then jump. Wherever you squat to, that's as low as you can go. Yep. Okay, so when you're down and I say jump, I don't want you to go down even lower and load again, because it'll measure it as a counter movement jump. Okay? So hold, right. hold, jump. Good. So look on here. So here's your hold, and then that little dip right there before it goes up, that was you loading. And look, it measured it as a counter movement jump instead of a squat jump. Okay, same thing again. Go ahead and squat. Hold, jump. Good. To get the bar height, you can stand in there and then just stand on the plates. Yeah, just step over or whatever's fine. So we're gonna go alternate grip, doesn't matter which side, it's more comfortable. Just stand up with the bar, okay? So the goal on this test is to push your feet into the plates as hard as you possibly can. We're gonna do that by getting here into a semi-squat position and pulling ourselves into the plates, creating as much force as possible, right? The first 2 reps that we do will just be practice reps. So we'll kind of get an idea of the cadence, how it feels, everything like that. About 50% effort pull, and we'll take it up to 75%, and then we'll do 3 max effort with rest in between, okay? Go ahead and step off for a minute. Let's get this calibrated into that squat position, perfect. Okay, and then I'll count you down. I'll say 3, 2, 1, and then we'll do a 3-second pull, okay? So 3, 2, 1, pull, relax. Good. pull, pull, relax. Good. Let's go first max effort here, okay? Good, go ahead and take the slack out of the chains. Good, get that bar elevated all the way up, good. And in 3, 2, 1, pull, 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 relax. Bar jumper. Right at the very end there. Plus it was only 3,400. We'll probably toss that one just because that bar kind of jumped at the end, okay?
All right.
$29. Good. Start standing. Can't sit, yep, stand side by side like that. Yep, yep, and then one step, and you're good. Good. 30.8. Yep. Nope, it's gotta be overhead. $31.4. However you want. As long as you got 1 foot on that line.
Picture, especially mentally, it might not look as much different, but it feels like a completely different thing for me. And so I think I definitely need to work on the stride. It's not going to get fixed in a week. Like I don't
What do you think
that.
influences the stride?
Like why I do that?
Yeah. Or like what would be the first domino in a line of dominoes to help you get that a little more in line?
Well, I think drill work for sure. Like
But drill work on what?
on the stride length. So like what I do, like it helps me a ton. And me and Ricky actually started this with the tape down the slope. That helps a ton, but I take it a little bit further in catch play and use actually like a yoga mat, and I just line myself up on it so that every single rep I'm landing in a straight line. I've got something there for direct feedback.
Here's the one thing I would say about that approach. I think it's good to have we'll call it an environmental constraint, right? Something that's in the way or giving you visual feedback, right? But for me, like to achieve that, you don't want to just like reach with your front foot to like go somewhere, right? Like the back hip, back knee, back foot is what actually is the rudder in that situation, right? So a drill approach that I would, explore with you would be, okay, how we are loading into the back hip.
Oh yeah, I got to stay back more. Like I can't drift forward. That's obviously, if I drift forward with my back leg, my front foot's going to hit earlier. That's kind of what I was saying earlier when I say like get my foot in the ground a little bit faster. If I drift for a long time down the slope and feel like I'm staying back, my foot's going to run out of room, essentially. So it's going to hit. And